Campaign 92. More and more voters say they don't like the choices. Guns and the growing threat to America's children, in the streets and in the schools. Also, a high-tech health or horror. A hospital computer sets odds on your chances of dying. This is the CBS Evening News. Good evening. Dan Rather reporting. The candidates for President of the United States are now facing their biggest test of the campaign so far. Primaries and caucuses are coming up tomorrow in 7 states, including the first Southern battle between President Bush and his challenger, Pat Buchanan, in Georgia. On the eve of the voting, a new poll finds growing dissatisfaction with all the candidates. More and more voters, Democrats and Republicans, say they want another choice. Our coverage begins with Richard Threlkeld in Georgia.
They were all on the road today. Songus in Maryland, Brown among the homeless in Baltimore, Harkin in South Carolina, Clinton in Georgia, Kerry in Seattle. But the voters have turned cranky, and the Democrats' new frontrunner is none of the above. In today's CBS News New York Times poll, more than half the Democratic voters we asked said they'd prefer someone else to the choices they've got.
Well, I don't believe there's anyone in whom we have any confidence.
They just have no focus for the country. They have no idea where they're going to take it.
I wouldn't vote for any of them. I'm going to write somebody in.
More voters say they'd prefer an unnamed Democrat to George Bush, but when the question becomes specific, Bush is 10 points ahead of Bill Clinton and Paul Songus, for which the candidates have only themselves to blame. They've been bashing each other instead of bashing George Bush.
No one can argue with you, Paul. You're always perfect. I'm not perfect, but I'm honest.
All they're doing is knocking the other guy, not saying what they're going to do.
What's more, they're still having trouble connecting with voters. Less than a third of those polled believe any of the candidates understands what everyday life is like for them. And it's African Americans who will make up a third of the voters in the upcoming Democratic primaries who've been most alienated, while the candidates have courted the middle class.
We should be focusing on everybody, because we shouldn't just limit it to one group of people.
They're just not looking at us, and they're not taking us seriously.
For the first time in more than a decade, Jesse Jackson is not running. He's trying to get out the black vote, but it's not easy in a year when black voters feel so left out.
The preoccupation with middle class somehow suggests that those who are now the working poor, who used to be the middle class, are not welcome.
Bill Clinton is likely to win his first primary tomorrow here in Georgia, but the Songus campaign hopes to counter with victories in Maryland, Colorado, and Washington State. But neither of them seems that much closer to becoming something more than none of the above. Richard Threlkeld, CBS News, Atlanta.
Pat Buchanan, needing a Dixie version of New Hampshire, told Georgians today the White House is melting down in the face of his right-wing attack.
The place is like a house of cards up there. They are frightened. They are nervous.
The challenger, who has concentrated almost entirely on Georgia in recent days, hopes for a big anti-Bush crossover vote from working-class Democrats tomorrow. The potential is there. Today's poll shows the president's approval rating nationally has dropped to a new low of 40%. The new polling data strongly suggests Buchanan has not turned the corner toward being more than a protest candidate. 75% of Republicans nationwide still want to see the president reelected. Yet, as with the Democrats, there's uneasiness. More than a third of the Republicans want someone else to enter the race. Unfavorable attitudes toward Buchanan among Republicans have risen 11 points in just 10 days, a sign the White House attacks on him are scoring. Buchanan is much less popular with women than men voters, and the Bush ad team is trying to widen that gender gap by reaching into the challenger's past writings.
And he even said women are less equipped psychologically to succeed in the workplace.
The ad battle has been savage on both sides. After accusing the president of promoting smutty art, the challenger now stresses allegations he backs racial job quotas.
How you doing?
To burnish his ties to the hard right, Buchanan today spoke out against taxes on yachts. And all the while, he questioned the president's courage.
He will not fight. He is engaged in the politics of compromise and consensus.
Both sides have pulled out all the stops here, turning Georgia into a political mud wrestling contest that will determine whether Pat Buchanan has political legs or is just a one-time wonder. Eric Engberg, CBS News, Atlanta.
United States Senator Brock Adams of Washington State has abandoned his re-election bid following accusations, mostly from unnamed, unidentified sources, that he may have sexually harassed female employees. Now, Senator Adams is under increasing pressure to resign his Senate seat, not just fail to run for re-election, but resign now. As correspondent John Blackstone reports, Adams so far is refusing to do that.
The question now is whether Brock Adams can even last until his Senate term ends in January. The allegations published yesterday that he sexually harassed and abused 8 women brought an immediate end to his campaign for re-election. But he insisted he would not be forced to resign his Senate seat.
It is not an admission of anything, and I will not be resigning, and I will be continuing on my job.
But the pressure for Adams to go was evident when Washington Governor Booth Gardner met reporters today.
He feels he can serve out his term effectively. Let him make that judgment.
The newspaper story was like a bomb blast, devastating Adams' long political career. It described situations over 20 years in his political life in which women said he had fondled and kissed them inappropriately. The story echoed charges 3 years ago by congressional aide Carrie Tupper, who said today she has been vindicated.
I'm very glad that I will be able to look my daughter, who will be born in July, in the eye and tell her about the value of telling the truth.
This has never been a case of a fair reporting thing. This has been a vendetta on one side, and I don't understand why.
The editors of the Seattle Times say they were in a dilemma. 3.5 years of research had convinced them the accusations were true, even though none of the women had reported the incidents to police and none was willing to be named in the newspaper account.
And it's clear that they're very fearful, they're embarrassed by what's happened, and they don't want to become the story. They don't want to be Anita Hill.
But if Adams sues the newspaper, 7 of the women have signed affidavits pledging they are willing to tell their story in court. John Blackstone, CBS News, San Francisco.
Mixed signals today about whether the economy is or is not ready to come out of the recession. There are some reports indicating possible strong growth in manufacturing and construction, but another report says consumers are showing little inclination to spend more money. Consumers are afraid. One reason for that may be that consumers are earning less money. Still ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, protests over guns and violence in America's schools, and a child shot through the heart, survival on streets owned by the gangs.
How could this happen? They've taken the secret.
Europeans are upset. The Kellogg's Muesli cereal uses their secret recipe.
Yes, we kept in the family.
After all, they've been guarding this delicious secret forever. Ah, but this luscious blend of sweet fruit, crunchy nuts, and crisp whole grains was destined to become Kellogg's Muesli.
Angeline, you told?
It wasn't me. I swear.
Kellogg's Muesli, the European secret for great taste.
I used to take aspirin to relieve minor arthritis pain until my doctor told me 1 Advil is as effective as 2 regular aspirin and is gentler to my stomach. For my pain, I prefer Advil. Advil, advanced medicine for pain.
Imagine a rent-a-car company that offers special delivery right to your door. That's Enterprise.
Here, let me help you.
Enterprise, a special rent-a-car company that gives you special delivery.
New York City is trying to deal with what is becoming a national problem. Crime in the classroom, guns in schools. New York's goal is to put its high schools back in the education business by keeping out guns the mayor says are, and I quote now, as easy to get as candy. Gazelle Fernandez has the story.
On a day, the city of New York began a $28 million school security program. Hundreds of parents, students, and teachers filled a Brooklyn street, calling for an end to a plague that has killed 3 students at Thomas Jefferson High this school year.
A little too late, a few days too late for my son.
Today's stepped-up security won't help James and Ethel Sinkler. Last week, a classmate shot and killed their son, Tyrone, and his friend in a crowded school hallway. The shooting, a tragic reminder that kids and guns are a reality in city schools, a threat that often worried Tyrone's mother.
Sometimes they say, Mom, you just don't know. So everybody out there carry a gun.
With the mayor's new plan, campuses throughout New York will look more and more like prison yards than schoolyards. Here in Brooklyn, Jefferson High School has one of the highest incidents of violence and weapons seizures. It will also be one of the first to use the new multi-million-dollar security system, which will include a high-tech x-ray machine for books and bags, as well as an increased police presence. For these students, stepped-up security checks began today.
Now that they got them every day, you know, I could go in without ever getting worried about people having knives and stuff in the school.
But parents still do worry.
Because when they put the metal detectors in, they can hide the guns a block away. The problems are going to be there. The killings are going to still be there.
A whole bunch of people weapons in school. Me too.
In fact, 20% of high school students across the nation carry weapons into the classroom. It's a lesson they learn from the streets. Community leaders know that keeping guns out of school alone won't disarm America's children. Giselle Fernandez, CBS News, Brooklyn.
In one part of Los Angeles, school-age children are in mortal danger the moment they step out their front doors. Ron Allen reports tonight on how gang warfare claims so many young, innocent lives.
The ever-escalating cycle of gang violence in Los Angeles claimed 2 more young victims over the weekend. A 7- and 9-year-old wounded by stray bullets. And that's why this shy 12-year-old girl named Crystal Anguiano is still afraid to come out. It's a month to the day since she and her 2-year-old brother were caught in a gang crossfire.
He was going to the ice cream truck.
Your brother was going to the ice cream truck. And you went to get him?
As many as 10 shots rang out. One struck Crystal in the heart. Still, she managed to carry her brother to safety.
I saw her. She's bad. You know, I said, she's dead. Call him, Crystal, real fast. Crystal, answer to me.
Dr. Arthur Fleming says he sees bullet wounds like this white mark in the center of Crystal's x-ray every week.
Just following Crystal's injury, we had a child come in shot to the head. Since that child was in, we've had another that came in that was, in essence, dead on arrival.
As many as 200 youngsters a year are treated for gunshot wounds at the trauma center in the city's worst gang neighborhood. Here, one of the most common causes of death for children isn't any disease, it's gunshot wounds.
This year, 50% of the victims of gang violence are innocent victims.
Innocent victims?
Innocent victims.
Incredible.
This is the first year that we've noticed that trend, and it's just an ever-increasing risk that people take being out there.
Crystal's parents believe her recovery is a miracle.
Can you tell me how you're feeling? Does anything hurt you?
No.
Police have made some arrests in the case, but the fear of more stray bullets is part of life here, and like Crystal, a lot of children worry every time they step outside. Ron Allen, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Stay here with us now for more CBS News, including Eye on America. Tonight, the battle on the beach. $1 million investors say they've been sandbagged by the government.
Like to try Total?
Officially, I'm a Nutri-Grain man.
Hope you're hungry. Takes 4 bowls of Nutri-Grain to get the nutrition in 1 bowl of Total.
4 bowls?
1 bowl of Total has 100% of 12 vitamins and minerals.
The call goes to Total.
Hey, I'll be home.
Thank you for a lovely dinner.
Aren't you going to ask me in? For coffee?
Well, I do have taster's choice.
Then how can I refuse?
Savor the sophisticated taste of Taster's Choice.
Well,
Just 1 more cup?
you said that 2 cups ago.
You know how much I love your coffee.
Then, by all means, take it with you.
It's nothing serious. It only wakes me up a couple of times a week. It really doesn't affect me. I avoid foods that are fried or spicy. I can deal with it. I just take antacids.
If you have frequent heartburn symptoms like acid indigestion or burning in the chest, talk to your doctor. These may be signs of a serious medical problem. Your doctor has treatment plans that can help.
It's only a heartburn. I should learn to live with it. Right?
Frequent heartburn. Isn't it time you talk to your doctor?
He was obsessed with a TV star. Then he killed her. But you don't have to be famous to fear a stalker. 48 Hours, Wednesday.
Thick drama today in the murder and racketeering trial of John Gotti, the reputed New York mob chief. The government's star witness took the stand to testify against his former boss. Sammy the Bull Gravato, in a late development, is reported to have fingered Gotti as the head of what's known as the Gambino crime family. The U.S. Supreme Court agreed today that the Federal Communications Commission around-the-clock ban of, quote, indecent radio and television programming is unconstitutional. The court rejected an appeal filed by the federal government and private groups. They had argued that a total ban on indecent material is needed mainly to protect children. We all know that one of the most difficult things doctors have to do is talk to patients and their families about the chances of dying. But that's another field of medicine that someday could be taken over by technology. CBS News health correspondent Edie Magnus reports that computers are already starting to look at these ultimate questions.
In a high-tech intensive care unit, alongside the machines working to keep the critically ill alive, there's a newcomer, a computer, which predicts the odds that while in the hospital, they'll die.
And I think that kind of objective data to have as a backup when you're talking to the family is very, very important.
The system is called Apache, an acronym for Acute Physiology and Chronic Health Evaluation. It spits out a daily estimate down to the decimal point of a patient's chances of dying in the intensive care unit. Studies show about 95% of the time, Apache's judgment is as accurate as the physician's.
This isn't a death computer. This is a computer that points out the magnitude of the problem and lets you know, boy, you better respond to it pretty quickly or this is what's going to happen.
And doctors say Apache may help families answer the difficult question of when to give up. Computers are increasingly being used to complement patient care, to dispense medicine, to diagnose disease, and now for the first time to predict hospital mortality. Most doctors insist they're just another tool, a silicon second opinion of sorts. But will there come a day when the computer's judgment replaces their own? For example, Apache says this patient has a 53% chance of dying in the ICU, 91% if moved to a regular hospital ward. Critics worry that hospital administrators may pressure doctors to give up, that insurance may elect not to reimburse expensive procedures when the probability of death is so high.
If individuals get hold of these scores as a panacea for trying to meet a certain end, whether it's reimbursement, resource allocation, life or death decisions, then I think we're going to run into real problems.
Apache's creator concedes there may come a day when it may be used to ration care, but he argues with this system, money won't be the determining factor.
If this country decides that they cannot provide everything for everybody, a system like Apache, which bases its predictions on the patient's ability to benefit as opposed to their ability to pay, is a preferable choice.
Doctors say even if the odds are stacked against patients, they'll never lose hope. They'll always view patients as human beings and not just as numbers on a screen. But it's unclear how influential the computer will be. Even Apache can't predict that. Edie Magnus, CBS News, New York.
Sticking here with us now for the story of the 60-mile backup. You think your traffic troubles are bad? We'll take you someplace where I guarantee you they're worse.
When I was little, I was always getting caught with my hand in the cookie jar. And I still love sweet things, like sun-sweet pitted prunes. So you see, nothing's changed, except my cookie jar.
Here's the problem. You need to remodel your house, but you don't know if you'll ever get to do it. Because in between need and get is a gap called not enough money. Well, it's easy to bridge that gap between need and get. Just go to First Interstate Bank, because First Interstate offers home improvement loans, car loans, and secured lines of credit at our lowest rates in years. So to go from need to get, just go to First Interstate Bank, and we'll help you get what you need.
Now's the time for Centrum Silver, because you're over 50, and you're out there swinging. Centrum Silver, a complete vitamin formula for your changing nutritional needs. Centrum Silver, it's a great time to be silver.
A cold always starts small.
But before you know it, your cold is full grown. That's when you need Dimetap. If it was any stronger, you'd need a prescription. Dimetap Extend tabs work for 12 full hours. It's the way to relieve the congestion and sneezing of a full-grown cold. Maximum strength Dimetap Extend tabs. Relief for the full-grown cold. And for colds and flu with fever, now there's Dimetap Cold and Flu.
I'm Paula Zahn.
And I'm Harry Smith. It's eagerly awaited every year, the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue.
You'll meet this year's cover girl tomorrow on CBS This Morning. It's breakfast for your head.
Protecting the environment is a many-edged issue. For example, imagine this. You buy a piece of land and plan to build a home on it. Then the government comes along and says you can't build because of potential damage to the environment. So you ask for payment, and the government says no. One couple in South Carolina says that's unconstitutional, and the U.S. Supreme Court heard their argument today. Rita Braver has the story in tonight's Eye on America.
Isle of Palms, South Carolina. That's where a dream began for David and Martha Lucas.
I was going to build my house right here.
But the dream became a nightmare. After the Lucases spent almost $1 million to buy 2 lots, one for their house, another for investment, the state of South Carolina passed a beachfront conservation law.
They drew a line back here behind these lots and said that I couldn't build on these lots. This guy enjoys his lot, this guy and everybody else down here, but not me.
The only thing that we were allowed to do was put something that was not a permanent structure, specifically a tent or a motor home or trailer.
Once, nearby Folly Beach was as wide and sandy as Isle of Palms.
Unfortunately, beach erosion has taken that away, and now with this hardened shoreline, there is no dry sand beach, and the waves lap up against these seawalls.
Wayne Beam of the South Carolina Coastal Council claims that stopping new houses can prevent similar destruction of the beach near the Lucas's property, preserving the shore for all of South Carolina.
Individual rights like this sometimes have to be subjugated to the overall good of the public.
When the state told you, hey, you can't build on these lots, how much did they offer to pay you?
Absolutely nothing. They said, tough luck.
And so the Lucases sued all the way to the Supreme Court.
Can they take my property and not pay for it? The Constitution says no.
And David Lucas is part of a growing environmental backlash movement that has brought out angry activists all over the country.
They consider that if I can watch birds and grow trees, that's a use of my property.
When Peggy Regal was blocked from building on her Maryland farm because it was classified as protected wetlands, she founded FLOC, the Fairness to Landowners Committee.
Thousands of people have called me and they break down in tears and they say, I cannot believe this can happen in America.
She claims private landowners should not be forced to pay the costs of conservation.
And they argue that it's too bad that, Joe and Betty have to suffer, but it's for the good of everyone. Well, if it's for the good of everyone and for the public cause, then the public should bear the burden.
Ann Powers of Maryland's Chesapeake Bay Foundation fears that if property owners win in the Supreme Court, the government won't be able to afford protecting resources like the Chesapeake Bay.
If every time I said, you can't build a shopping center in this residential area, you have to put it someplace else, do I have to compensate you for what you see as your lost value? It could have incredibly damaging effects.
And the question now, whether the rights of individuals like David Lucas and Peggy Regal should take precedence over the government's right to preserve natural resources for everyone. For Eye on America, this is Rita Braver in Cambridge, Maryland.
People love the old type of granola because it was loaded with great taste. They didn't know it was also loaded with fat. Introducing a new type of granola. New Kellogg's low-fat granola for the new granola type. All the delicious whole grains, almonds, and raisins you love, but only half the fat of leading granolas. So if you like the great taste of granola, but don't want all the fat, try new Kellogg's low-fat granola. Great taste, half the fat.
I use a shampoo for dandruff, but my scalp still itches like crazy.
You need new Scalpicin, the revolutionary scalp medicine for deep scalp itch, not ordinary dandruff. Scalpicin is not a shampoo. It's a clear liquid you don't wash away like shampoo. Apply Scalpicin anytime for deep scalp itch relief with medicine chosen by dermatologists over all these dandruff shampoo formulas. Scalpicin penetrates to relieve the itch and help prevent flaking.
The itch is gone.
New Scalpicin, the scalp medicine for deep scalp itch.
Simon, I've got a clogged drain. What do I do?
I've got a hardware store full of things you could try. But I just got something in that's so strong, so fast is all you need. New Liquid Drano Professional Strength Plus. New Drano Plus has a unique, thick formula with more power than the leading competitor. That's a plus. So much power, it churns and busts through clogs in half the time. Another plus. Don't mess with anything else.
I won't.
Thicker, stronger, faster. That's the plus in New Drano Plus.
For painful gas, which would you choose? Your antacid or Gas-X, the tablet made for gas? It's extra strength, 100% simethicone to fight gas faster. Faster than your antacid. Fight gas right with Gas-X.
Doctor.
Is it right for me? Habitrol.
It's a patch. You know, the patch.
Habitrol.
Habitrol.
You know, Habitrol. It's a patch.
It's new.
Habitrol.
Ask your doctor about Habitrol, nicotine transdermal system.
Thanks, doctor.
Here's news. Japanese car sales are down in Japan. American car makers might take some small comfort in the figures released in Tokyo today. Japanese car companies reported their domestic sales down for the 10th straight month. As correspondent Bill Whitaker reports, it appears Japan's car culture has reached some kind of a saturation point.
The Japanese cars that give U.S. automakers a headache are a growing pain for Japan, too. And for the same reason. There are just too many of them on the road. So many millions pour into central Tokyo each day that expressway speed during rush hour averages a mere 10 miles per hour. It's a Japanese nightmare.
This traffic is really terrible, but what can we do about it?
At Nightmare Central, Tokyo Traffic Control, they've declared war on traffic. Traffic is winning.
It's getting critical. Soon, you will be able to walk faster than you can drive.
The only thing worse is parking. As part of its battle plan, Tokyo drastically raised parking fines. You can now get slapped with a $1,500 ticket. This gadget-loving nation has devised this annoying $2.50 an hour parking meter that notifies police when your time is up. All this has Tokyo residents scrambling for any available parking space. No space is too small or too inconvenient.
You can't even buy a car in Tokyo without first having a legal place to park it. The trouble and expense of cars is helping to drive auto sales down as much as 22%. And American automakers wonder why they can't sell cars here.
Still, Japanese car makers are betting things will have to get a lot worse to crush Japan's love affair with the car.
And you have a choice. If it's really bad, then you can take a train. I leave the car somewhere and take a train.
That's right. There's all...
Made mistakes in my life. I was certainly intolerant of speech. I was too strident.
Does David Duke still hold the racist beliefs of his youth, or has he changed?
His immediate response to that was, I haven't changed. He said, the same things that drove me as a 17-year-old or a 25-year-old are the same things that drive me today.
Who is David Duke? Next time on Frontline.
Tuesday night at 9. Funding for the McNeil-Lehrer News Hour has been provided by ODS Health Plan, the group medical plan that meets the needs of more than 600,000 Oregonians by providing a broad range of medical and dental coverage and responsive service.